Good morning, everyone, or afternoon. Yeah, we're officially afternoon now. I want to welcome you to the Legacy Live stream, and this is something that we do every couple of weeks. I'm usually joined by my co-founders, Nathan Cabell and Kelly Ballou McMillan, but today you just get me. And so usually what we do on this platform, again, is every other week, is educate folks a little bit on what we're doing at Legacy and what the model is about, and answer questions if you have any. Today, I got a little treat for you. So, what I intend to do today is just go a little bit through our back end in terms of what our platform looks like, right? So, like, for those of you that aren't aware of what Legacy TSD does, please go to legacytsd.com. Make sure you register there if you are someone that wants to be a partner, a supplier in our ecosystem. You can apply there. If you are someone that wants to apply to be in one of our cohorts, you can apply there for that as well. But today I want to show you guys a little bit of the magic behind the scenes of what Legacy does to empower entrepreneurs. Big picture, 30,000 foot view, what Legacy does and what Legacy's mission is to bring people of color into the technology channel and enable them with coaching, mentorship, direction, go-to-market strategy, strategic partner alignments, strategic collaborations, and a true model that sets people up for success. All right. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It's very hard, especially when you're stepping into spaces where there's no plan. You're learning things for the very first time. And you find that when you look at small business, you look at business models, the most successful business models in terms of, and I use that term loosely, but the most successful business models in terms of lasting, beyond 3 to 5 years are typically franchises, right? But the problem with franchises are they're not that profitable. You got a lot of fees, you got a lot of expenses that you have to pay back to the franchisor, right? As a franchisee. But what makes franchises successful in terms of the amount of the longevity is that they have a structure, they have a plan, they have a business model, and then you plug yourself into that. Essentially, in most franchises, what you're doing is you're creating yourself a job, not really creating yourself a legacy, not really creating yourself in most cases, something that's an asset that's going to build wealth, unless you have multiple franchises, right? So what we've done with Legacy is created a model where we can with success. There's a go-to-market strategy, there's coaching, again, there's mentorship, there is training, and there is strategic alignment and experience based upon, the collective 50, 60 years experience of our founders, right? To help set people up for success. A whole lot of intention. And today I'm going to take you behind the scenes so you can see part of the cohort experience. So you see what that intention, what that looks like in real life. But before I do that, let me go ahead and pour myself a little drink. It's midday here. Midday, I always like to, I've got this 11 ginger turmeric little thing and by the way, folks, for you guys that say turmeric, it's not turmeric. It's not turmeric. Read it. What does that say? It's turmeric. All right. Let me pour a little bit of this, and then we're going to get into it. I'm going to actually show you guys what our back end the back end of our system looks like. All right. A little stir. Really stir, and then back to it. This is good stuff. This is by the way, I like supporting small businesses. This is a small business actually based here in Atlanta, Georgia. What it has in it is it's got, of course, turmeric, monk fruit, ginger, carob, some pumpkin pie spice, cinnamon, black pepper. It's good stuff. All right, that was my plug for 11 Wellness. All right, let's do a little screen share. Okay, what I'm going to show you guys now is top secret. Shh, just between us. This is the Legacy Vault. Okay, in order to get access to the Vault, you have to be one of our cohort members. But once you're in the Vault, this is the hub of our training, the hub of our curriculum and our framework and structure. So the first thing I'll show you here is just a landing page. So when our cohort members log into their Vault, this is what they see, right? We start with our mandate, right? Just making sure that everyone is always focused on what we're set out to accomplish and what success is. Making sure that, because again, legacy isn't just a business model, it's not just training, it's a community. And that's what we seek to create as a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who not only, again, learn from myself, my co-founders, and our strategic partners, but learn from each other. So we wanted to be a real collaborative space. So this shows you what the 90-day path looks like for our cohort members, starting with month one is foundation, month two is activation, right? So foundation, this is when we're learning all the structural things that are going to be important in your business, right? How to set up the business properly, right? How to build that scalable business. So we're talking about things like some of the basics in terms of how to, what structure to use for your business, banking, all these little things that if you haven't done it before, you just don't know. Right. And so by training folks on that, we're expediting their success. Oftentimes what happens is to get those fundamental things done when you don't know, usually people will hire expensive resources to do that, or lawyers or whatever else. And so many of these things you can just do yourself. So we've created training to educate and expedite that process. Month two is activation, right? This is when we're getting into technology stacks. This is where we're teaching technology, where we're bringing in our supplier partners to assist in the training and the development of our cohorts. And then month three is about acceleration, right? This is when when we start to scale our outreach. Like this is when we start hitting our groove. During foundation and activation, we're teaching sales skills. We're teaching prospecting methods and things of that nature, ICP building, so that in month three, now it's time that we can put our foot down on the accelerator, right? And really lean into growing that business. What we seek to do, again, through all of our actions is not just to provide a business model for folks, but it's to expedite that success, right? To expedite that success. All right. This is our Vault assets. So I'm not going to get in and not going to click these because you got to be a member of a cohort to get access to all of these documents. But this is our Vault assets. So our cohort members can pop in here and get immediate access to a number of different resources and tools that are available to them to educate themselves, or to there are tools, business building tools. There's calculators, financial calculators and things, so they can start forecasting and things of that nature. Then we have our fundamental five. Fundamental five, these are our foundational technologies that our cohort members have strategic partnerships and access to strategic partners, right? So our fundamental five, we have spent a tremendous amount of time just determining what are those core technologies that our cohort members are going to need foundationally to go to business with, right? We live in a technology fueled world. So there are hundreds and thousands of technologies that you can potentially sell, but there are core technologies that most businesses need. And so we've put together a whole go-to-market strategy around what we call the fundamental five, which are these foundational technologies, which all businesses need, but will also organically open up opportunities to sell other things. And so on our foundational five, this kind of does a drill down on the foundational five, who they are or why these technologies matter, a little bit of education around these to make sure that people are aligned with why these technologies matter. And through our strategic and intentional partnerships and collaborations with very specific suppliers, we involve them in the education. We involve them in the journey of the cohort, so our relationships, one thing to take note of with our business model, our relationships are intimate. Okay. It's one of the things that are key differentiators. We spent a year vetting out suppliers, vetting out to make sure we have the right companies that are in our program. And we don't need hundreds and dozens of suppliers that are partners. We need the right ones. And that's why specifically Kelly has gone through an exhaustive process to identify the right suppliers to be part of our ecosystem. And once a supplier is plugged into, and I'll talk about that here in a moment, and into our ecosystem, they get to have an intimate relationship with our cohort members, right? So you're not just a supplier. That's why we go through so much of a process. You're not just a supplier, you are a partner in our business and a partner in these businesses that are being developed under Legacy. And then there's some education around some of the expansion opportunities that would present themselves as well. I'm not going to click on those because that would be giving you guys more information than I want to give the world without being part of our cohorts. And then our resource library here at the end. These will be filled out here before our first cohort. And then there's some advanced resources which are locked unless you're a member. Next thing I want to show you guys is just our academy. I'm going to give you a high level overview of what our academy looks like. And this is for folks that are considering applying to be part of our cohort. I want you to see the intention behind our education. So right at the top, again, we're community driven. So the first thing you'll see is always these links to book time with our co-founders. This is part of the mentorship aspect. And you'll see each of us have our own expertise, and that is all that's at the top. So when you're scheduling those meetings, our cohort members are scheduling those meetings with intention and focus on one of the expertise that we bring to the table. So there's that. Then you can see our training. So this is what our 12-week training looks like. And there are online courses that are built in this. Our cohort journey looks like this. It's a combination of online courses, one-on-one coaching, group engagement, and engagement with our strategic partners. But without going into too much detail here and giving out too much of the secret sauce, which, by the way, who cares? You can know. It's one thing to know. This is something for you guys to think about in business. It's one thing to know. It's a whole nother thing to actually execute. It's one thing to plan. It's a whole nother thing to actually have the resources and time. And so, I'm not that concerned about others seeing what it is that we're doing, because to get to the point that we're at right now took 2 years and a whole lot of work. If I showed you guys all of the back end, all of the meetings, all of the, it would blow your mind how much work and how much intention. And building out a curriculum like this is a Herculean task. Think about that. Just think about that for a minute. 12 weeks online of courses, of curriculum, it is not easy. And not only building out the content, but building out the content in an intentional and learner outcome focused ways. Here's one of the gaps that most people, and this is my expertise, this is what I bring to the table in terms of creating curriculum. Anyone can share information. Anyone can create a course, but it is a very unique skill that you have to be trained on to create curriculum, and educators will appreciate this. Teachers, professors, you guys appreciate this. It is a very unique skill that you have to learn to create curriculum that gives results, that gives learner results, that's focused on the outcomes, and structuring curriculum in a way to where people not only can receive the information, but they can more easily execute on it. That's a skill. And that's what I bring to the table as one of the founders. All right. So that's a little bit of what our back end looks like in terms of our vault assets, our educational plan. And then of course, there's the community aspect to what we're doing. So this is the hub of our community. And so with the community, this is where our community members stay in contact with each other. This is where we encourage each other. This is where you go to know where all the meetings are. and links to all the meetings, the wins. And this will be built out a little bit more as we continue to grow to where it's a little bit more dynamic in terms of, folks can post more things real time to engage with the community, to encourage each other. And here's why this is important. Entrepreneurship is lonely. It's very lonely. And when you are going through either difficulty or even when you're having success, if you don't have anyone to share that with, if you don't have anyone to share that burden with, you don't have anyone to share best practices with, it can be very difficult. So this is one of the things that was very important to me, having been an entrepreneur for so long and been out on that island. I understand the importance of having that community. And so not only will our cohort members learn from us, my founders, our partners, and collaborators, but they're going to learn from each other. That's just powerful. So that's a big part of what we're putting together. And again, it is a very unique experience that people of color have in entrepreneurship, specifically in tech. So it's that much more important that you have a community that you can rely on and people that understand your unique challenges and journey, to be able to help fuel your success. Okay. So that's a little bit about what we're doing from a back end perspective. So your next question should be, well, Ronell, how do I get involved, right? How do I either apply as a to one of the cohorts, or how do I apply as a supplier? Well, as a cohort member, it's very simple. This streaming thing down here, Legacy TSD, go to legacytsd.com. On that page, there are two buttons. There's then two paths. One is the cohort path, and the other is the supplier path. You click the cohort path, then there's an application process. Just start that application, and that'll get you started in terms of consideration. And then there's an interview process. My co-founders and I have created a very extensive process that involves competencies. It's a competency-based process in determining who is going to be the best fit. And so we can remove biases, we can remove fillings, and we can be of a better service to our cohort members, and really bringing people in that have some of the fundamental skill sets, have some of the fundamental backgrounds, and are in certain positions in their life and everything, to where what makes sense for them to bet on themselves. Because it's not always, you can be a great person and just not be the right time, not be a good fit, and that's okay. So we've done the work for you to help make that easier for you. Now, if you're someone that wants to be a supplier in our program, there's another path for you. So let me share that with you really quick. And if you go to the, again, legacytsd.com website, you will see a button there where you can plug into this. But let me just walk you through what happens when you do that. That'll take you to our partner site. You can also get there through partner.legacytsd.com. And this will tell the story a little bit of what it is that we're doing and what a good partner for Legacy looks like. Because again, we're intentional in every aspect of our business and making sure that we have great alignment with cohort members, we have great alignment with suppliers, and these are intimate relationships and not, superficial type distributor type relationships. So starting, a little background on our co-founders, myself, Nathan and Kelly, and then why, what it means to you as a potential partner. First, like I told you guys, intimate partnership by design. That's what's important. It's designed to be that way, right? Limited supplier roster, high collaboration. You get to be part of the process, and we expect you to be part of the process, which is more important than just you get to be. We expect you to be. If you're not someone that's willing to check in, if you're not someone that's willing to be involved in the education of our cohort members, then you're not a good fit for us. We don't just want your money. We don't just want your product. We want you to be part of this journey with us. So being part of the process, non-competitive selling environment. So here's what you can expect as a partner of Legacy. We're not going to have a dozen people that do the same thing that you do. If you're a UCaaS provider, you're not going to see our portfolio is not going to have 10 UCaaS providers, because again, we're looking for intimate relationships and high alignment. So you get again, more of an exclusive access to our community. Solution-based selling. We're not doing transactional selling over here. Transactional selling is going the way of the dinosaur in technology. What I mean by that is that individuals, us, people that are building businesses have to lean into solution-based selling, because transactional selling, the software companies, they're working on their own platforms for that. And that's going to kick your ass if you're someone that's transactional selling. They're implementing AI, all these other tools to be able to take control of that transactional selling process. We realize that and recognize that, and that's not what we want to be part of, because we also understand that we're helping people to build a legacy. In order to build a legacy, you need sustainable business, you need scalable business, you need strong relationships. To build strong relationships, you need to be solution selling and consultative selling. Our focus is on sticky revenue. Okay. We want high retention. Again, we're trying to help folks to build a legacy. And so we need predictable revenue, real feedback loop. So, again, intimate relationship. So you're going to get information from us. We're going to expect information from you. All right. We're all about trying to build affinity and trust. Right. So that's part of what it is that, again, I hope you guys see this underlying theme of the intention behind how we've built this platform and how we're building these businesses in ways to create sustainable legacies for our cohort members and sustainable, forecastable, scalable businesses for our books of business for our partners. So as a partner, here's what you're checking into. Pipeline acceleration, right? Our reps are going to become advocates, trained specifically in solution selling and selling value, your value. Okay. So we're talking about faster time to revenue, a market education at scale. Our reps carry your message into hundreds of accounts that you never reach alone. Right. So this is the typical channel model. You guys understand that, but our model is with much more intention and focus. Talent to pipeline events. So a big part of our go-to-market motion as founders and the executives behind the legacy is a presence at events. So we will be present, speaking on panels, creating speaking engagements at events all year long. And as a supplier partner, you will be able to participate in those events. So you'll be there right along there with us as we're recruiting at those events. So you'll have the opportunity to tell your story and how you support Legacy and Legacy's model, which will, again, not only help us collectively to recruit better candidates, but help spread your message that much further as well to an audience that you're not capturing today. Partnership expectations. I could continue to go through this. I've got to hard stop here in a moment, but you guys can see like there's so much intention behind partnerships. Like one thing I can tell you with pretty high certainty, if you're someone that's a supplier or a software company, you've never seen anything like this. You've never seen someone that comes to you and has this level of intention around what a successful partnership looks like. That's why you need to be part of this, because we're the future. That other thing, that's the past. We're the future. Intentional focus on partnerships, not just about how much you're going to pay. Does that matter? Sure, it matters. But there's so many other things that matter to us. So again, we're creating, our focus is not to make money tomorrow. It's not to make money today. It's to make money long term. It's to help people to build legacies. Okay. So check out the website, partner.legacytsd. If you are a supplier, you can fill out this form right here, or you can pop right here and hit the schedule an intro call, and that'll pop up a calendar where you can meet with Kelly. And yeah, and we'd love to bring you guys to consider you for our program. Again, we're not in the business of having dozens or hundreds of suppliers. We have no desire to have that. We want the right ones. And if you share that sort of philosophy about business, and you want to get out of the rat race that is channel sales, where you are kissing a whole bunch of frogs trying to find a prince, we might be a good fit for you. Okay, legacytsd.com. Go check it out. That's there. I guess if you're on Instagram, you're seeing it up there. Yeah, we appreciate you. So that's it. If you got some value from this, fantastic. I appreciate you. Just wanted to let you guys know a little bit more about what it is that we're doing and the value that we're bringing to our cohort members and to our strategic partners. And I appreciate you all for your time. Have a great rest of your Friday, and hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.